You know the vibe. All spice, no sugar. Let's get into it.
Welcome back, my love, to another episode on the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. And I have to be a little bit apologetic. I know it's been 3 months. Your girl has been frolicking around in the US and I kind of lost track of time. So we're here in Texas recording. As you would notice, the background is a little bit different, not my usual studio setup. And that's because we're not in Australia, girl. We're recording this in the US. And I'm recording this in the US and also celebrating that I launched ICONICA, a 200-person inaugural luxury business gala that's happening in Australia on the 19th of September. And today we're going to talk about how I created a sell-out launch, okay? If you saw, I launched ICONICA and within 24 hours, early bird general admission tickets were sold out and 50% of our VIP tickets gone. That type of response is something that I feel like I've been working towards in my career. And it was one of those moments where I actually looked at myself and I was like, all right, I'm actually really good at what I do. It was such a good feeling because I'm going to take you to the moment. Okay, I'm going to take you to the moment. Story time. I had been building this for months, for quite literally months. And you would have seen back in about February, March, I actually went to launch this event, but failed. I had 2 failed launches, meaning that we had to postpone the launch of the event, even though I'd been marketing, telling people something's coming. I told them a launch date, and then I had to say, we're actually postponing this for a few months. And I stopped talking about it. And then later in this podcast, I'm going to actually explain to you why that actually worked in my favor. So as I said, I'd been building this for months. And so when it got to launch, I was so ready for it. I was like, okay, I've done everything that I can. I have poured my essence, my energy, my life, my soul into this launch, and I fully relinquished control of how this goes. And came to the day of launch. 2 weeks before this, I had built a wait list, and I'm going to walk you through exactly my launch strategy that got this sellout outcome. So by the end of this episode, you genuinely know how to create an incredible momentum around your offer so you can have a sellout launch, a successful launch. But the goal of this is to never have a successful launch, but to have people waiting for you to drop. And that is what happened in this process. So I had gone to, I announced the event. I'd announced what we're doing, ICONICA, 200-person event. And for 2 weeks, I poured people into a wait list. And then I released a certain number of tickets to the early bird wait list at a discounted price. And within 1 minute and 38 seconds, the first person had bought her ticket. And within 24 hours, all of general admission had completely sold out and 50% of the VIP allocation sold out as well. And so I was sitting in my lounge room, sitting on the couch in my slacks, like literally in my pajamas, because I had not left my couch that day, because I was making sure every single step in the process had my eyes over it, probably like 7 billion times. All right. I went through every single thing, every single email, every single part of the landing page, every single checkout, every part of the funnel and the flow. I sat there and I analyzed and I watched and I analyzed and I watched and I tested and I did the run. And I was at this point, I was kind of driving myself crazy. I'm not going to lie. I had poured every single day for about 2 weeks. I had been nutting out every single thing that I could because my goal was to have the most smoothest launch. And to be quite honest, even though I say that I spent every single hour on my laptop working that out, by the time the launch came around, I actually was genuinely so relaxed. I was so chill. I was like, I'm ready for this because I have done everything in my power to. I've poured my soul into this and I'm ready for it to go out into the world. And I was sitting on the lounge in my pajamas on my laptop, And it turned 9 a.m. on Australian Eastern Standard Time. So it was about 6 p.m. for me here in America. And I was like, okay, all right, it's live. And I was doing a few other things, like just making sure the post was ready to go and stuff like that. And then it just started and it was just like ding. And I was like, woohoo, I got my first ticket. And Mark was sitting there next to me and he's like, congratulations, baby. I'm so proud of you, and hugged me. And I was like, yay, it's officially out there. And then it just like started going. I was like, ting, ting, ting. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. I couldn't sleep that night because I was in so much excitement of the sales that came through, the tickets that were being purchased. Like there was so much anticipation and excitement that by the time it went live, I was like, hallelujah. I was so stoked. I was so happy. And I woke up in the morning and the general admission tickets had sold out. What? Crazy. I had woken up to people messaging me being like, is there still tickets available, or can you please send me the waitlist link because I missed out? Like, please, like I'm having FOMO. Like, is there any tickets available? Like, I had people messaging me with so much FOMO and so much like stress, being like, girl, please get me these tickets. And it's actually the first time that I've had that experience. And I was like, shit, I've done my job so well. So let's break it down. Let's actually go through every single step in the process that I did to have this launch. And also, if you haven't got your ticket, please do, because when I say these tickets will sell out, I really do mean it. This result was all organic marketing, and we've just turned ads on. So it's really going to take rapid fire. There are general admission tickets. We added more general admission tickets at the full public price. And then there is also VIP tables as well. If you want to come hang out with me at the VIP after party and celebrate with a champagne at our after party venue, which is so freaking cool that we've secured, I would suggest that you're a VIP, and not just to have a glass of champagne with me, but generally what we're creating for VIP is such a cool experience. You'll have your own section at the venue. You'll have like VIP merchandise. You'll get to connect with the speakers. The table service is just going to be insane for you. So if you're someone who absolutely wants to make the most out of this event, I would definitely recommend VIP. And there is like only a certain number of tickets for that. So just saying, girl, get your ticket. So let's actually talk about ICONICA. Okay, I created this event because I knew that there was such a huge demand for this in Australia, despite women not actually knowing. Okay, I have grown my company, grown my business in Australia for the last 3 years, and I've ran over 20 events. I've run 4 Australian tours. I have run enough events to know that there is still such a huge gap in the market. You know, there are conferences, there are multi-day events, there are speaker events, there's seminars, and they are amazing. I've been to so many. I'm an events geek. I freaking love them. But I knew that there was something missing because I felt like there was this gap, but I couldn't identify what it was until I went and came to America, until I attended events in the UK and attended events in the USA. I saw what it was. I saw what it was that was so blatantly obvious that is not in Australia. And I said, I'm the person who's going to create that movement. I'm going to create something that's bigger than myself, because of the women of Australia, the female entrepreneurs of Australia need this. Because what it will do for them is quite literally transform how they see themselves, which means that they'll pop off in their business. There are so many talented women in Australia, but they've never been given the permission or been shown the pathway of how to truly step into their bigness, how to truly live out their full soul potential, how to fully go all in, and what that actually looks like. No one is doing this. There is no example. There is no pathway to follow. And so my travels to the US and to the UK to go to events like this, of course, has always been for my growth in my business, But when I recognized that I was going to these events, I recognized why. And it was because so I could bring it to Australia. Because there is nothing like being inside a room where the woman next to you just celebrated a 6-figure month, and then the woman across from you just launched her podcast and hit top 10 in the first month. Like, there is nothing like being in a room of people who are actually doing exponential things. And I think in Australia, there's a lot of tall poppy syndrome. People are striving to have successful businesses, but don't have the courage to step out and beyond the norm to create something bigger and draw attention to them. I found that so blatantly obvious when I traveled overseas, and I was like, oh my God, we are so sheltered in Australia. And that's got nothing to do on that's not essentially our fault. We just haven't been shown the way beyond this. We haven't been shown what's available to you. We haven't been shown the possibilities and the endless opportunities that come when you expand yourself bigger than you. And that is what I hope to bring with ICONICA, is how we're creating this event from the moment you arrive to the end of the night celebrating with a glass of champagne with me. The whole experience is completely unique. We're creating a foyer where you arrive and there's literally a foyer of brand partners that you can interact with. We've got tattooists, we've got permanent jewelry, we've got a live podcast set up, like so many things that you get to experience. And then you step into the actual event itself. It's cabaret seating with adornments and like perfectly curated spaces for you to not just sit in a plastic chair to someone next to you, but sit at a table, connect with the 6 other women who are going to be on that table with you, and then see performances and lights and music and dancing and shows, as well as speakers who are experts on high ticket sales, on wealth and growth, on embodiment, on business, spirituality, like the things that you need to hear to really unlock that part of you that sits within so you can go and create the thing that you're actually born to do. All right. That is my goal. That is my intention, is for ICONICA to completely rewire your cellular DNA, for you to unlock a self-concept and it to stick there permanently. That is my intention for ICONICA. And it's so far beyond me. I've never experienced this before with creating any offer or any event. It's so far beyond me. It's not even, the way I see it is, it's like, it's not actually even mine. It's yours. It's the women of Australia. It's for your evolution. I'm just the vessel for it. I'm just the channel of it. So that makes me so excited. And I feel like I was literally put on this earth to do that. And I have fallen in love with it so much. So as I said, get your ticket. All right, so let's talk about the launch process so you can actually fully live out your potential, because I know that you can go bigger in your business. You know you can go bigger than your business. So how do we do that? Something that I do incredibly well is I do a launch process for any of my big announcements, any of my Australian tours that I have done before. I have always been committed to creating an experience through my content. And something that a mentor of mine said is, you have to create a world around your offer, because people want to immerse themselves in the world of the offer, right? Same thing with your personal brand. You have to create a world around it. It's not just one particular thing and one outcome. It's an entire world that they get to experience. And that was my goal with the launch process for ICONICA. So step 1 of having a sellout launch, and this is, as I said, the exact process that I did for this, is have a full brand identity. Like, have a full identity for what you're offering and create that experience. Something that I'm very grateful for is my visual abilities. I channel my offers. And when I channel my offers, I will literally see what it is that I'm supposed to create. I will literally see what it looks like, what the marketing campaign looks like, the colors, the aesthetic, the design, who it's for, what it is. Like I will see it in my mind, and then my only job is to then go and create it. And so for Iconica, I saw myself on this white horse. I saw myself in a gown. I really wanted to emanate the value. I wanted to emanate the standard of the event through the visuals. Okay. So your branding is a passage for what your offer is. So when I created the content and I hired a horse and I did a photo shoot in front of a $50 million mansion, and I had a full head, like full gown that was completely glitter. It was sequins actually. It was extreme. It was so heavy, and it had a full like bodice on it. And I like had the horse, huge house, all the things. The reason I did that is because I wanted my visuals to craft a story around the standard, around the vibe. And what that did was create a certain energetic frequency. And I literally filmed content on the horse. Okay. I wanted to create a full shake to the social media platform of like, she's literally sitting on a horse, speaking to the camera, recording ads right now. That's what I wanted to do because it was so shifting, and it broke that pattern. And that's what I want to do, is like Iconica is to break the patterns, is to evolve your way of showing up and thinking. And so I had to evolve my way of showing up and thinking. So the whole marketing campaign was really designed to capture the attention and do something really different. And from that, I used that to then build in the momentum. When I went to launch at the beginning of the year, I again had like coming soon, like I started to build momentum around the actual launch date. So I would drop videos and photos of me and the horse, me out the front of the mansion. And I said, something's coming, something's coming, something's coming. I started to create the feel and the curiosity through seeding. Okay. And this is something that's so important in your launch, is you have to take people on the journey of what you're creating without telling them. I know personally, like it's so hard. Like I'm going to be honest, it was so hard to keep it a secret. After I did the photo shoot, I just wanted to tell everyone. So I get it. It's hard when you're so excited and so passionate about what you do that you immediately just want to tell everyone. You want to tell the fucking world, and you're like, listen to me, please. But to do a well-ran launch and get the outcomes of it, you have to build the momentum. You have to build the story and the energy and create curiosity in the audience, because it brings them along. It's what is called an open loop. And our brain is hardwired to close loop. Like we always want the answer. We always want to find out the result. We always want the outcome. But when you open loop in your marketing and show something but never tell, like show, don't tell. You want to show and not tell the answer. People, every time you post a piece of content around that, they're like, oh, is she going to tell us? Oh, no, she's not. Is she going to tell us? No, she's not. And so when I went to try and launch it at the beginning of the year and had 2 failed launches, and then I said, I'm unfortunately not launching this after the second reschedule, people were like, oh my God, like what is going on? What is happening? What is Candy doing? What is she creating? And from that, it had an open loop in their mind. So then when I started remarketing again, so it came to around May, I started remarketing again to go to waitlist on I can't even remember. I think it was June. We opened the waitlist, which was essentially when I announced what it was. So in that period, I started showing a little bit by little bit more and more of what it was, still without saying exactly what it was. So I dropped the name. And I just dropped the name with no context. And I had a visual created of just, it was a dark screen and it just shone like a shimmered the name of Iconica, and then just went coming soon. And so it again, just like drop feeding and then coming soon, drop feeding and then coming soon. So people were building up the hype and the excitement of like, oh my God, what is this? It's crazy. Like she's not telling us. And I had friends of friends asking friends, what is Candy doing? What is she creating? Like that's your goal when it comes to creating a launch process, is you want to create that much hype that people are asking your friends to try and get the inside scoop. All right. And also tell your friends, like, don't tell anyone. I had people asking my clients, what is she doing? Again, it's like creates so much momentum and energy and a complete vortex around your offer. So as we built up the momentum, again, this is just showing marketing photos, campaigns, me on the horse, and I was showing little glimpses. And I also in this time was working with a videographer to create the most explosive, iconic, oh my God, reel. Like my goal is for when I drop, I take over the internet. That is how I see launches, is I'm building hype, and then I want to drop the most iconic reel ever, the most insane reel ever. Like I spent months on this reel. I'm telling you, I went back and forth with my videographers so many times they probably hate me, but I had a particular vision and I was not wavering from what it was. It's like, no, this event deserves the most highest quality outcome and result and content and marketing campaign, and I will not waver from that. So build the momentum. Again, I showed little photos of like what the thing would look like, because again, I want to remind you as well, this is the first time it's been run. I don't have any photos or images from the event. So I actually was working with ChatGPT, who created some banging freaking photos. And I asked ChatGPT to create a photo of what this looks like. Here's a photo. So again, I would do things like that to build the momentum, and people be like, oh my God, this is literally unlike anything ever done before. And then on the launch day, I launched ICONICA. I dropped the most amazing reel. I posted a carousel. I posted a live video. I went on my stories. I blasted it everywhere, sent it through my emails. I said, announcing ICONICA. Here it is out to the world, and I just shared it. And my whole goal is to just take over the internet, and that's what I want you to do. And this is also what I teach my clients to do, is when you're building that momentum, you want to take over the internet. So when people jump on Instagram, all they see is you and your offer, to the point where it's annoying. Okay? You really would just want to take over the show. And so I launched that, and then I went to a wait list. So I said, I constantly marketed, okay, announcing ICONICA. I finally released exactly what it was, a 200-person luxury business gala. This is red carpet entrance, interactive foyer, round table, dances, multi-speakers, VIP after party. This is the event Australia has been waiting for. It will sell out. And with that, people are like, oh my God, this is so cool. I need to know. I need to come. And so for 2 weeks, I marketed ICONICA and drove all my traffic to a wait list. I said, get on the wait list, because we're releasing early bird tickets to the wait list only. And there's only a certain number of tickets available, meaning that if you do not get on this wait list, you will have to wait for public release at the full price. Meaning that if you're not on the wait list, and if you don't get in and get your ticket straight away, it's going to sell out. And it did. And so I was stoked. The way I looked at it as well, my mindset behind this launch was I acted as if I was a music superstar. And I looked at how my favorite music artists sold tickets to their concerts. And they would do wait lists, they would do pre-sale, they would do release one, and then second release, and then third release, and they would tier their tickets and create that much hype and momentum that you're sitting there literally waiting for the clock to tick 9 a.m. to get your ticket, because you know if you're not there waiting for the release, it's going to sell out and you're going to have to wait for the public release and pay extra. That was my mindset around this launch, and that was how I treated it. I said, I want it to be such a big deal that people are literally sitting there waiting for tickets to be released. And that's exactly what happened. And because I behaved that way, because I treated it that way, that was the result of the launch. When we finally closed the wait list and then opened the tickets, the discounted tickets, it went off. It popped off. And then when it sold out, I had people asking me, and I was like, cool, you're just going to have to wait for the wait for the public release, because that's how it works. Like if you didn't get your name on the wait list, you're going to have to wait for public sale. And then we went to public sale. That is pretty much the format and the strategy around how I launched it. And then from that, like during that period of time, like I've had so many things up my sleeve to talk about, to consistently bring the hype, the energy, and the momentum. So I would talk about brand partners, and then I would talk about the speakers, and then I would talk about the vendors that we have coming in. Then I would release it. There's VIP after party. So I have, and I still do at time of recording, like I still have to release 2 more speakers, like incredible speakers, as well as our panel, vendors, sponsors. Like there's still so many things that is coming as well that I get to talk about. And I've done that strategically as like alongside with my my events manager as well. We have built this flow of things to maintain the momentum, because what I see is most people launch straight away and then spend 2 to 3 weeks selling people into it, convincing people to buy, trying to build the hype and the momentum around it, when it should be the opposite way. You should spend 2 to 3 weeks building the momentum, so when you go to launch, not only do you have a successful launch, but you have people waiting for you to launch your offer. So my advice to you with launches is talk way earlier about it and way more often than you think. Even if you don't have the social proof yet, like you can still create the demand and the hype around it and then supply. As I said with ICONICA, I didn't have any photos. I don't have any content around it because it's not been done before. And I often have clients come to me saying, well, how am I supposed to create content when I don't have any clients, I don't have any testimonials, I don't have videos of me speaking on stage for me to, market an event. And this is just proof that you don't need to have those things, because you can still build a world around something and create demand and then supply for the demand. This is like such an incredible example that you don't need proof of concept for things to actually work. ICONICA has taught me that so hugely. Like, yes, I've seen people in the US and the UK create similar things like this, but I'm not following someone else's blueprint. I'm following the entity of ICONICA. I'm following my intuition. I'm following my mission, my passion, and my devotion for what I'm creating for the women of Australia. And when you reflect that back into your own business, I want you to ask yourself, like, how can I create a world around what I'm doing? And the best way for you to do that is to speak into the transformation, speak into what will happen because of your offer. I spoke into what will happen inside the event. I created graphics and images to create a felt experience. I created a world. I spoke into, like, there's nothing done like this in Australia. I shared my journey. I shared behind the scenes. So I really emphasize the need and demand for it without any proof of concept or social proof. And how I did that was through months of seeding, through creating a world, building hype, building momentum, drawing out the experience, and also treating my launch as if I was a music artist and that people are just in demand. And I quite literally rewire my brain to believe that people are dying to come to my events. They will literally, and I have this, I've got clients who are flying from all over Australia that have organized their babysitters already, that are flying business class, that have said to me, I have been waiting for an event like this. Like, thank you so freaking much. And the only reason why I'm having that reaction is because I have literally seen myself as someone who is creating something that people want to be a part of. And I know that they are. And that mindset has allowed me to traverse through any level or flicker of self-doubt. And I'm going to be honest with you, this journey to building Iconica has tested me so much. I'm not going to pretend that I've got it all figured out. I'm not going to pretend that I'm so cool, calm, and collected about it. The size of this event is 5 times anything that I've ever done before. It's also 4 times anything I've invested into an event before. Like, the level of commitment and risk that I've had to take for this, I know will pay off. Like, there's not a single ounce of doubt within me about that, but it's required me to step into a whole new, I feel like, we go through identity deaths, and every time we create something new, we have to step into that new version and that next level of ourselves. But I feel like this has created me and forced me to hop, skip, and jump into the next version of me. So I want you to know that every time you launch something, you will be required to step into a new level. And I want to just normalize that for you. And how well your evolution goes is how you train your brain to see things. Like I said, I trained my brain to be a sellout music artist, and that's how I ran my launch process for Iconica. I invite you to come to Iconica. If you have not gotten your ticket yet, please see the link in the show notes below. General admission and VIP are available. As I said, general admission gets you the whole day, the whole experience. And though if you're someone who wants that elevated, the full shebang, join me in VIP, because I would also love to cheers you with a glass of champagne after the night has ended and celebrate the most experiential, exponential event you've experienced. Thank you, my beautiful babe. Mwah. I'll see you in the next episode of the podcast.